And this is KC9VKV and the Qso-Vlog network for Friday afternoon, and this being the July 4th edition of our Qso-Vlog, not really on the 4th, but the day after the 4th, best we can do, since the Qso-Vlog network is only on Friday afternoons from 3:30 till 5. Anyway, we have talked to Charlie, and Charlie's celebrating today his 87th birthday, and last week he said that he would not be with us, so I'm assuming that he's not. So I will take the liberties at this point to sing happy birthday to Charlie, who is celebrating his 87th birthday today. So Charlie, here it is for you, sir. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charlie K1GZL. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Well, it's the closest we can do. Happy birthday, Charlie. And so we will kick off this edition of our Qso-Vlog show with your birthday song. And may you have many years to come. And right now we're going to check out and see who we got out there, and we'll be recording from now for 3:30 till 5. So if you have a radio, you want to hear the audio, give us a shout. And if you want to get a little setup going on your transmitter, we do that also. This is KC9VKV.
This is November 8, November Charlie Whiskey, M8 MCW in Northwest Michigan, over.
All right, I copy N8 NCW in Michigan. Is that a Roger?
NCW in Michigan, is that a Roger?
Okay, come right up on that mic again and give me your name, sir.
Okay, come right up on this mic again and give me your name, sir.
Roger. Now, I'm still having a little difficulty in copying you. There's a couple of things I need for you to do. If you're familiar with your radio, if you could add some top-end EQ to your audio equalization. If you're familiar with your radio and can go to tone control or equalization and punch up 2 or 3 decibels top-end boost, that would be very beneficial, because right now, you are the case of that I've been talking about. When you get a marginal signal, the more crisp your audio is, the easier it is to copy in marginal situations. So right now we are about 3 dB. So if you could go to your EQ or your tone control, as ICOM calls it, and add +3 to your top-end EQ, that will help in being able to copy your audio. Roger?
In being able to copy your audio, Roger. Roger.
All right, and the next thing would be to put your compressor in the engage your compressor and put it at a 3. Engage your compressor and put it at a 3. Roger? Said something about the amp. Before you do that, check one more thing. Go to your ALC and look at your ALC level, and with your other hand on the mic gain control, adjust your ALC reading to where it's mid-scale to 2/3. Adjust your ALC reading to where it's mid-scale to 2/3 with your mic gain control. Roger?
Roger,
I'm not sure if you copied that last or have. How are you doing there on that compressor at 3 and the ALC at mid-scale to 2/3? If you've got those, let me know. All right. Now on the EQ, we need about plus 3 on the EQ. If you have top-end EQ available to go 3 clicks up from where you are, do that. Roger, Roger.
Do that. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger.
All right, now I am running right at a kilowatt. I am running just a little over a kilowatt. Let me drop down and show you what 100 watts sounds like. This is hello, check. This is 100 watts right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. KC9VKV at 100 watts. And now we're back up to a KW now. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, definite difference. I darn near lost you at 100, but you came in very nicely at 1,000 watts.
Roger. Now I was copying you part of that at about 7 dB over my noise level. So you really came up during that last transmission for a little while, and then, it's back down. So what we got is varying conditions, but I think they might be getting better, Roger, Roger.
Yeah, you're starting to pick up here too. I'm peaking here at only 149 watts, and I don't quite understand that. Could you stand by for just a second while I try to tune this amp up a little bit?
All right, before you do anything, come back with your name. Give me your name, sir.
Yeah, the name is Paul.
Try one more time, that first name. Give me your first name one more time. Was that last name Hall, H-A-L-L? Paul. Go ahead and try to peak up your amp, sir. maybe a little additional wattage obviously couldn't hurt much. So go for it. I'll stand by, or you go for it. And I'll, just give me a shout when you get it all together. Don't tune up on the frequency. Go off a couple of clicks or 3 to tune it up. Roger, Roger.
Off a couple of clicks or 3 to tune it up. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Be right back.
Roger. Okay, this is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. If you've got a radio, you want to hear what it sounds like, we are recording from now until 5. And if you have a radio you want to set up on the transmit side, we do that too. So this is KC9VKV.
This is KC9VKV.
I thought I heard a kilo something.
Kilo 4, Sierra Golf, Quebec.
Sierra Golf, Quebec, come back with the full call, please, sir, phonetically, slowly.
Golf, Quebec, come back with the full call, please, sir, phonetically, slowly.
Kilo 4, Sierra Golf, Quebec. KK4SGQ, Kilo 4. Sierra Golf, Quebec. Over.
I got you there, sir. And what's the name, please?
I got you there, sir.
Name is Daniel, Delta Alpha November, Daniel. Location, Bedford County, Virginia. Over.
Roger, Daniel, and what radio are you running today, sir?
Roger, Daniel, and what radio are you running today, sir?
I'm running a Yaesu 857 at 100 watts with a dipole about 40 foot up in the air.
It was a Yaesu 857, is that a Roger? Alrighty, and gosh, I'm coughing you, like I say, about maybe 3 dB above my noise level. Just about 3 dB. How do you copy me, sir?
Just about 3 dB. How do you copy me, sir?
They're running very good signal.
Roger that, roger that. Well, we are recording. I wish I had some better conditions for you, sir, on your recording, but we are recording, and I'm copying you about between 2 and 3 dB above my noise level, Roger.
Between 2 and 3 dB above my noise level, Roger.
QSO on that.
So would you like to do some setup on your radio, or no?
Do some setup on your radio, or
We'll leave it where it is.
Roger, I can't really tell your dynamic range because, you've got to be a little bit over my noise level. If I'm going to, like say if you had a 3 dB dynamic range, you would have to be at least 3 dB hotter than my noise level for me to be able to see that. And I could only see 3 dB at that point above my noise level. The noise level is the limiting factor about what I can tell about your radio at the time, the modulation dynamic range, and which ties to average peak modulation, Roger.
average peak modulation, Roger.
There's a little while. It'll be clear. Thanks for the check.
Well, now I did switch over to the Milford PA, and you were a little bit better, about 2 or 3 dB hotter on the Milford PA SDR, Roger.
Roger.
Of course, you know how it is. The conditions are kind of jumping around, and they're not very stable. So at one moment, one SDR might be hot, and then in just 30 or 40 seconds, it'll fade out, and there will be another SDR that seems to pick it up, and so it's just a matter of keeping up with the cycling conditions. Roger, Roger.
Roger on that. Yeah, the band the last couple of weeks has been great.
Well, all right, Daniel. I tell you what, if you happen to be around later on and conditions get better, give me another shout, and we'll have a better recording for you, Roger.
We'll do it here for a little while longer, then we've got to run out and do some stuff. But when does the net close?
We go till 5. Live till 5, Roger.
Roger.
Roger. That's your 3.
3's that way, Daniel, and we'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV, and Paul, how's your tuning going? I have to remember what SDR Paul was on. Well, anyway, Paul, I nothing copied. Try one more time. This is KC9VKV.
Sugar Charlie, Mexico.
Mexico station. Come back with the call sign slowly, phonetically.
Kilowatt Alpha 0 Sugar Charlie, Mexico. KA0 Sugar Charlie, Mexico. Good afternoon, sir. The name here is Bill Baker Ida Lima. QTH Springfield, Missouri. 100 watts this afternoon from a vintage Kenwood TS830 Sugar. Back to you, my friend, from KA0 Sugar Charlie, Mexico.
Sugar Charlie, Mexico. Roger, Roger. Copied all that. Boy, we finished off that QSO in record time. I was kidding, Bill. You had a lot of information in that first segment, Roger. Well, Roger. Bill, the conditions are not good today. You were kind of up and down. You were up for about 30 seconds, and I copied most of that first transmission that you gave me, all the situation there. I did copy most of that, but since then it's been kind of down. So let me let you come back, and we'll try some more. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor. Roger, Bill. Well, gosh, conditions are not going to be helpful. I copied just a little bit in heavy noise, unfortunately. So let me say 3s for now. And I do have you on the register. You have been recorded. Not the greatest in the world, unfortunately, but you are on tape, and I could hear just a little bit of that audio. It sounded good. The bottom end, they had a lot of bottom end. I'm not sure exactly, how that balanced with the top, but from what I heard, it sounded pretty good. So maybe in the future, or maybe even later this afternoon, if you gave me another shout, I would love to hear you. If conditions get improved on your side, Roger.
Wish you well. 73 and all the best.
Roger, Bill, and belated happy 4th of July. Thanks for checking in, Bill. 3 is that way. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, and the afternoon, Friday afternoon, Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. KC9VKV.
November Charlie 4, Charlie X-ray.
November Charlie 4, come back with the rest, please.
November Charlie 4, Charlie X-ray.
November Charlie 4, Charlie X-ray, and the name was Clint. Is that a Roger?
QSL. Yes. How are things in Indiana, James?
Well, kind of noisy, I guess, but I have pretty good conditions on you, sir. What part of North Carolina are you in?
We're in North Carolina, QSL.
Roger. What part?
We are in north-central North Carolina, 5 miles south of the Virginia state line, QSL.
Oh, roger that. And what radio are you running today, sir?
I'm using my Kenwood 590TS. The TS590S, I'm sorry. And the mic I want checked for audio is MC50. It is a Kenwood mic that's got made, but it seems to get out pretty good. And I also would like to get a report on the signal strength. Over.
All right. Right at the moment, I'm looking at your output on my from my receiver on a VU meter, and my signal report is your audio set at 0, and then when you stop speaking, it shows my noise level. So your last transmission, you were 10 dB above my noise level, which is a very, very good signal strength-wise. Roger.
Okay, QSL. Yeah, we're dropping you F9 to 10, F9 to 10 here in North Carolina. And I just wanted, and I am running a little power, and didn't know if I needed to turn the amp off or not. Over.
Oh, never, ever turn the amp off. Never. There's no reason that I can think of in the world for you to turn that amp off, Roger.
Okay, QSL. Well, it is an old amp. It is a Henry 2K4, and I really enjoy using it. Tunes up really good. Over.
Roger. Well, the only reason I turn it off is if you feared an explosion in shrapnel, Roger.
QSL. Well, this amp I've had a couple of years, I guess, and it's been a good one, and I got it at a real good buy, and the only thing wrong with it, James, was I had to get 2 new 500Zs for it. They were completely gone. Over.
Roger. Well, it happens, sir. That happens. But, if you run it correctly, those new ones will last, years, really and truly. Now, I'm talking about your audio. I'm looking at, like I said, I'm looking at your audio on a VU meter, and I can tell a lot from my VU meter in regards to your average peak modulation. And right now it looks like your audio is fairly unprocessed, and what we normally try to do is to bring the audio up to about a 3 dB dynamic range. Now at a 3 dB dynamic range, the average percent of peak modulation is between 80 and 85%, which is nice and fat. Not too much, but very, very nice, but very transparent. That was the important thing. So if you would be interested, we start our tuning process by engaging the compressor at about a 3. Now that is not very much as far as the compression is concerned, but it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So if you wanted to try to come up to about a 3 dB dynamic range on your audio, we would start with about a 3 on the compressor. Roger?
Well, QSL. Well, I just wondered how the signal was. I won't get in the way of others that want a real good close check. I just want to make sure that my amp was still working okay and my audio was readable. I do have another mic I could try if that was a problem, but it is an MC60, which is a Kenwood mic, but I don't use it that much. But and I do have a handheld mic for the 590. Hey, thanks so much for your help, James, and I'll get out of your way and let you help somebody else. Just wanted to be sure my amp was running okay, and the audio was good and crisp. Thanks again, and we'll appreciate it very much. 73 KC9 Victor, November Charlie 4, Charlie X-Ray, North Carolina. Thank you.
Roger, Clint. Yeah, if you get a chance, I would add just a little more top-end EQ to that mic, just to try to brisk it up just a little bit there, because it doesn't sound like it's got a lot of top end for clarity. So if you get a chance, I'd add a couple of clicks or 3 on the top end EQ. And gosh, if we get a chance, I would love to get that audio a little fuller. Like, the thing is, if I had a VU meter tied to the output of a PA system, and you were talking on the PA system, I would classify that as about a 10 dB dynamic range. Unprocessed audio has about a 10 dB dynamic range. So if you were on a PA, my meter would show 10 dB of dynamic range. So and that averages out to about 30% of average peak modulation. So my tuning method gives you a 3 dB dynamic range and about a 80 to 85% peak modulation. So maybe we can try that some other day. So we'll say 3s for now, Clint, and you have a real good day. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network program, whichever. If you've got a radio that you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. KC9VKV. Wow. Well, I was going around on my SDRs and I copied nothing, but I did have a lot of chatter on my local receiver, so the loudest one, come back. Golf Mike something?
Yeah, Nancy 3, Golf Mike Norway, Southwest Papa Alpha. Name here is John. Juliet Oscar Hotel, November, over.
Roger, John in PA, is that a Roger?
Roger, roger.
And I got the last part of your call. Give me your call again phonetically slowly. Yeah, John, give me your call sign again slowly and phonetically.
Call sign Norway. 3, Golf, Mike, Norway. Norway. 3, Golf, Mike, Norway. Over.
Roger, roger. And what's the man's best friend's name?
My name is George Juliet Oscar Hotel November, and that is Andy Man with Hoopty in the back. Turn another thing off. It is dinner time for the Beagle, over.
Roger that, roger that. Well, he's got all the makings of a good ham, a nice loud voice. That's the first criteria, Roger.
Oh yeah, he lets us know when we do not forget. He will not let you forget what time it is, even though every day about 4:30, he gets his place. Let's see here, operating at Kenwood PS 680 Sugar. 680 Sugar. That is a friend of mine's station, and I'm running a 922A also, and we're about 600 or so. It's wired to 110, not to 220. As for his location, he was downsizing. A good home. And I've been on this thing for about a month now. And I get a kick out of the old radio. It's a really nice radio. And the microphone is an MC80 desk mic, Kenwood. So he set up a basic Kenwood station, over.
Oh, roger that, roger that. Well, it's doing a good job there. Audio is crisp. It probably, my pet peeve is always a couple of clicks more on the top end. I am trying to bring the FH world into the 2 meter and 70 centimeter world, audio quality-wise, even though, obviously there are some more limitations on HF than there are on UHF and VHF. Still, one can try to get as best audio and as crisp audio as possible. Roger?
Oh, roger. My buddy there, he had an outboard. I'm on an outboard equalizer also. 7-band? Yeah, 7-band. I just did bump up the top end a little bit. And, the only other issue I'm having with the radio is just lack of use on the sliders for the power and RF gain and the mic control. So I got the radio mic about halfway. And I'm only driving about 75, 65 watts. So I did bump up the top end on the outboard equalizer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3, 1.
Oh, Roger, yes, and sounds a lot better, I think. And so now, what are the issues with the radio? That's a 100-watt radio, right?
Oh yeah, it's a 100-watt radio. I'm already driving 65 into the amp now, and I'm doing about 500 odd or so. It's just lack of use. He had the radio a long time and wanted to do a Kenwood station with the, I got the matching tuner here, the power supply, and the Kenwood amp. And then he had to downsize. So I said, well, what we'll do, so I have a spot on my desk, and I will set it up there. And I do not know how long it'll be here. This may be here for a while. And he says, well, I want you to use it. So we've been running it. And it's very nice. I like it. I always like the 680 series anyway. But lack of use is a big problem with sliders and pots. You know that. And that's the only thing I've been having an issue with is due to lack of use. A little iffy here and a little iffy there, and you'll finally get it settled in, and hopefully it'll stay this way for a long time. Over.
Roger. Now, I have used for many years WD-40, as a pot cleaner lubricant. If it's possible for you to get to those controls, if you used just a hit of WD-40 in the inside the pot there, that will solve that problem for about 3 or 4 years. You want to be careful that you get it in the pot and don't get it all over everywhere, but just in the pot, just one hit or two, and then manipulate the pot, and that will solve that issue for about 3 years. Roger?
Oh, Roger. That's on the list to do. It is just comparing, my usual radio, which is a Kenwood TS2000 and a AL811. The Kenwood amp and, Kenwood radio plugs in, is really sweet. And it's just, back in the day, in our younger days, you saw these radios in the magazines, and you wondered if you'd ever get to operate one. So I can finally say, the Kenwood amp and the Kenwood radio, and it's kind of neat. It's kind of neat. I just wish the other ham will, get his stuff straightened out, and then we can get this all set back up. In fact, I even have his antenna out in the garage. The whole station. I got 2-meter rigs, 440 rigs. Oh my word! But we got to get him back on the air.
Roger. Now, sounds like he might be taking a direct hit from the wife or something, Roger.
Oh, that'd be wife number 2. And, work-wise. And, he's busy and never home. And wound up just, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. But it all catches up to you. And it caught up to him. And then realized that, I'm not on the radio that much. I could sell the equipment. And then I kind of broke the news to him that the market's like crap. I said, he looked. He searched for 3 years to find the Kenwood amplifier in great or good condition. He would have took good. This thing looks like it come out of the box. He found it was an eBay deal. And, it's just, I said, you can't get, if you're going to sell it, you're just going to give it away. I said, I can't see you doing that. You're going to give away this stuff. And now, it's in a safe location, far away from, giving the equipment away, over. Oh, and 3, GMN, by the way.
Roger there, sir. I was just wondering, does that radio have onboard EQ, or did you say you had outboard EQ on it?
Yeah, we have outboard EQ. Mic goes to the EQ board, and then the EQ board plugs into the conventional microphone socket, over.
Roger, if you had a little more top end, up around 3K boost top end, I would flatten, I don't know. How many band EQ is that outboard?
7. I just turned up the 31 a little bit, about two notches on the 31.
Oh, it helps a lot. And I would take that 1K, I would flatten that 1K. The whole idea about EQ is top to bottom relationship to the mid-range. So, you never want to have to really stretch the top and the bottom. So that's what happens if you also boost the mid-range. So I keep that mid-range 1K, I keep that flat. So then my top and bottom has much more effect as far as balance, Roger.
Roger, Jim. That's what we did. We got that there, and right about there. And that's I got a freaky voice on these things too. That's why, with the conditions of the previous operator, he said, I don't like it. I'm gonna get me an outboard equalizer. So that's how that came about. And then he had this thing tuned to his voice. Oh my word. So now I, got it set to mine. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How's sound now?
Yes, sir. Now, just as an experiment, how close were you to the microphone? Pretty close, like 1 inch?
Oh, no, I'm a good 6, 8 inches away from it.
Oh, roger that, roger that. I was going to do the old, low frequency build-up in reverse. It does sound, like maybe it has a little bit more on the bottom end or thereabouts. So I was going to have you pull back just a little bit. But if you're past 4 inches, that would be the furthest I would have you pull back just to see what happens to the bottom end. But anyway.
How do you get through to Mr. Microphone?
I'm sorry?
What's the best way to get through to you?
Talk.
You go ahead and finish your QSO. I'd love to hear what you have to say. My call is November 4, Echo Delta X-Ray.
Well, if you'll hang on, sir, do you have a moment?
Yes, sir, I do. I'll stand by.
Alrighty, right now we're just finishing up with John. He's doing a kind of a demo for his neighbor's radio, as near as I can figure it. Roger, John?
Yep, that'll work. I did turn the bottom end down, and the N4 station, if you're copying the N3 station, you're sounding good up here in Pittsburgh, for lack of better term, a location in between Pittsburgh and Butler, PA, southwest. And yeah, this thing is just back on the really cool side, Jim. How's that? And I'll let you go and let you get some more people in here.
Roger, John. Maybe next time we can work on your dynamic range and kind of fatten it up just a tad. Like I say, right now it is fairly unprocessed as far as dynamic range, about a 10 dB dynamic range, where ideally we would want about a 3 dB dynamic range, which would, fatten it up quite a bit. But maybe next time, Roger.
Roger. Probably next Friday or next Friday after that, if we're all in here and still kicking. KC9VKV from N3GMN. Thank you much, sir. And we'll get down to the N4 station there.
Roger, John. 3's that way, sir. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. We are recording from now until 5. And right now, I want to check out N4EDX. N4EDX, you got a copy?
Yeah, I do. And I got you as Kilo Charlie 9 question.
Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, KC9VKV, Roger.
Okay, Jim. I've heard you many times, but had a to you. I'm on a dipole down here. I'm in the upstate of South Carolina. Yes, the gentleman in Butler. I know Butler. I was up there actually some years back recruiting some healthcare professionals. So I know exactly where Butler is in the Pittsburgh area. You both sound really good. I was curious about the sound and where I might be able to hear the recording that you're saying. Over.
Okay, first off, what's the name there? What's your name?
The name here is Echo Delta. It is part of the call sign, November 4, Echo Delta X-Ray.
Okay, I didn't hear that, but I'm assuming your name is Ed. Is that a Roger? Okay, and what radio are you running?
I'm running an old ICOM, 756 Pro 3.
Roger, does it have EQ on it or no?
I'm not sure. I've got the filter set at 3.6 over.
What's the age of that radio?
Oh, I don't know, probably 15 years old now. It's down to a 3.0 and 2.4. Over.
Roger. Well, you want to run at least 3, 29 or 3. There's no reason to. If you have the option to run 29 or 3, I would run those, Roger.
Roger, I'm back at 3 on the filter. I don't know. We do a lot of rag skewing down here in the southeast, and I usually go a little more broad or wide as we would. Where do you replay your audio recordings, over?
They're on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to the our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 7519. My Group Aircheck 7519, which is today's date. Roger?
Yankee Golf Romeo Uniform Golf.
My Group, Group, My Group Aircheck. Roger, Roger.
Okay, well, I was very curious. I've listened over a number of months to your recording. I have not been on the YouTube, but I do hear you speaking with folks. You do have a fine and sounding audio set up there. I'm going to go back wide, and I don't know. I know it does not help noise, but very nice to make your acquaintance. I didn't get your name.
Name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike. And also, if you would be interested sometime in maybe getting a little fatter signal, I could assist you doing that. Right now, it looks to be your dynamic range is fairly unprocessed.
Yeah, no, the processor, I don't use the processor, but I'm just using the filter, and I'm only transmitting at about 300 watts. So a homemade dipole, the dipole it runs north to south, so you're kind of off of the northwest side of my dipole. Or you down here you about over.
Roger, Ed. Well, you know, what I'm saying is the dynamic range of your audio makes the difference. If you were to go to, right now, you're probably at about a 10 dB dynamic range, fairly unprocessed, which means your average percent of peak modulation is about 30%. Now, we could fatten that up to where your average peak modulation would be somewhere, or your dynamic range would be about 3 dB instead of 10 dB, and your average peak modulation would be somewhere around 80 to 85%. So you would sound about 2 to 3 times louder than what you are, but it would not be evident as far as listening to the audio that it was processed. We run a very very easy kind of settings. Like I say, that compressor would be at about a 3, which I defy you to even hear that compressor working. But it does exactly what it's supposed to do when we work on the rest of the radio. Roger?
Yeah, follow you. I do, I believe. I did enrich the compressor. Brought it up another, I don't know, notch. Looking at the 756 Pro 3, I had that compressor on to, would have been about 9 o'clock. I brought it up to about 10:30 to 11 o'clock on the dial phase. I don't know if that made any difference, over.
Yes, sir. That's the beginning of it. You got a nice beginning. Now, I would go to your ALC meter. Go to your ALC meter, and with your mic gain in the other hand, and adjust the mic gain to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay, Jim. Really, it's on ALC scale. I'm scale right now about 2/3 to 3/4.
Kind of faded out that last part. Repeat.
like it's full scale on the ALC, 80 to 90% over.
All right. Well, we'd recommend just between mid-scale and 2/3. In other words, you know, on the right-hand side of midway, but out of the red. Roger.
Yeah. Oh, out of the red or in the red on the ALC?
Now, well, if the red is to the right-hand side of mid-scale, then you don't want to be there. Now, I have seen some of those that they have a red scale on the left-hand side of mid-scale, and I don't know what the heck that is, but I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about in other words, the peak red on the right-hand side of mid-scale of the ALC. Roger?
Okay. Well, Jim, this one must be an older unit. It does have the ALC on the left-hand side. It is, in comparison, ALC compared to power output would be relative to 0 to S9. At that point, the ALC has a demarcation line, so S9 would be wide open. I can make it go further, but I don't know if that would be what we're looking for.
No, I would say, you know, if you can see the meter movement and the designation of the ALC reading, in other words, it's not a hard left to hard right. It usually is just a left to maybe 2/3 of the scale. But you look at that ALC scale and adjust your mojo to where it is to the right of mid-scale, towards max, but you still, you know, get some daylight on the right side of the ALC scale. Roger?
Roger. Do you, can you tell a difference from when you and I first began this Qso? Did that brighten it up at all?
Well, it fattened it up. It has fattened it up, and you are now running at about 2.5 to 3 dB dynamic range, which is exactly where you want to be. Now, if you just could add a couple of clicks of top NDQ, a couple of clicks of top NDQ, we would have the whole ball of wax. Roger.
Roger. Now, I'm not familiar with how to do that. I will admit, I'm an old Kenwood guy. Radio in the shack is an old CS940 SAT. So even though this ICOM is certainly not new, this 756 Pro 3, it's new to me. So I'm not quite sure how to bring the equalizer online.
Roger, I got you. So if you have access to the internet, go to Google and Google that radio model number, and you'll probably be able to get a lot of information on that radio. You know, you'll be able to get a whole file about that radio from the manufacturer if you Google it on the internet. Roger?
Okay, I got you, Jim. Well, listen, my friend, thank you. And I do look forward to hearing some playback. I'll go to your YouTube page, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, and look under my group, 7519.
Roger. Yeah, and we will be posting this within the next couple of days. Probably not tomorrow, but or you know, it could be, but at least within the next couple of days we'll have it there. So you go to YouTube and then do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and then that'll take you to the Qso-Vlog page, and then you're looking for a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 7519, and you will be there probably around well, 4:15 or something. There's a clock in the background, so you can do that. Your audio is immensely improved from the standpoint of dynamic range. You're probably now about twice as loud as what you were. And if you can find EQ through Google, through the internet in Google, I would adjust the top end 2 clicks hotter than what it is, at least 2, maybe 3 clicks hotter on the top end EQ-wise. Roger?
Roger.
Roger, Roger. I appreciate it, Jim, and I wish you the best of what remains of this holiday, my friend. This is November 4, Echo Delta X-ray, clear with Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor. 7-3s, my friend.
Roger, Roger. Ed, before you go, what's your location?
I'm in Greenville, just outside of the city of Greenville, South Carolina. I'm on the eastern slope of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'm about 900 feet above sea level.
Roger, Roger, Ed. Well, 3's that way, sir. Thanks for checking in, and if you get a chance, check back in next Friday. I'd love to talk at you and see what you've been up to and how things are going. So 3's for now. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio, you want to hear what it sounds like, give us a shout. We are recording now live till 5, KC9VKV. Alrighty, just switching around station, loudest station, come back.
Come back.
Well, it's an old ploy, but it just might work. I was shooting through the SDRs and I didn't copy anybody, so I heard a bunch of stations though. So loudest station, try it again. This is KC9VKV. Oscar, Juliet station, come back slowly with your call sign phonetically.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call. This is Kilo 6 Oscar Juliet K6OJ, and I'm actually in Central Virginia. Over.
Alrighty, and what's the name there, sir?
Name here is John Juliet Oscar November.
I see, John, and what radio are you running, sir? Try it again and come up on your mic and try it again.
I am running Icon 756 Pro 3.
756 Pro 3.
Roger, roger.
Alrighty, and gosh, give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, Roger.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you a little bit about your antenna system, Roger. I'm a QCWA, VXTC, blah, blah, blah. But I'm 58 years old, and as you know, the hobby comes and goes. I'm now out of the storage container, and everything seems to be working. The antenna works 80 meters Carolina Wyndham, and it's very poorly placed right now. The ends are out of super branches anyway. Even fully off the ground. I plan to work on that. But having said that, I've been able to do contacts last night. I was able to work 2 West Canary Islands and Dublin within 20 minutes of each other. And so it can only get better. Let's hear that audio. K6OJ.
Roger, Roger, John. I'm copying you about 3 dB above my noise level. You are about 3 dB above my noise level, but I'm having a hard time understanding what you're saying. So, if you could add a little more top end EQ, that would be beneficial. That's the thing about the brightness on your audio is when push comes to shove, and when you're in your noise level, or in my noise level, the more articulation that your audio has, the better I can hear the words and understand what you're saying. It's when there isn't much top end, and top end is what gives you the presence that one can hear and understand what you're saying. So if you're familiar with your radio and you could crank in a couple of dB on the top end EQ, that would be beneficial. Roger?
Roger, I will look into that. There's a lot of things that can be adjusted here, and I'm sure I can figure that out. But on the top end at 2 dB. I've got that written down here, and I'll try to figure that out this evening.
Alrighty. Now, if you are familiar with some of your radio, we recommend running that compressor just barely at about a 3 out of 10. We recommend running that compressor at a 3 out of 10, which is a token amount, but it does exactly what it is supposed to do when we make other adjustments. Roger?
Roger. You know, I have to turn the compression on to narrow, wide, or then of course there's a gain control on the front panel. So I have the gain control set about 3 o'clock, and I have compression on wide right now. I've been running it, let me see here. I've been running it mid, and it is now at mid.
Gosh, well, the wide, I think, has to do with your transmit receive frequency bandwidth. Is that not correct?
Well, I'm going to have to look at the manual. I'm not prepared for class today. But it sure is something I would love to be able to tune up, and you sure seem to be on the subject. So I've definitely got to read up on some of these things and how they work.
Roger, there is a manual way to EQ that microphone. If you were to back off that microphone about 3 inches from where you are, that would help out a great deal, I think, in lieu of getting to your EQ right at the moment. Roger?
But I'm about 6 inches away?
I would say about 5 maybe, but you also want to, do you know how to get to your ALC reading?
Well, yeah, my ALC deflects just to the right of the red area. That undoubtedly needs adjusting, and again, I have no idea where.
Just got you a little bit better on the Milford PA SDR, so I can copy you now about 4 dB, for the moment, about 4 dB above my noise level, so that's a good thing. Now, did you get your compressor there at about a 3 out of 10?
10.
I've lost you there, I think. Try it again.
I didn't have it at 3 o'clock. I had the knob at about 9 o'clock, and now I've turned it just to about 10 o'clock.
Yeah, okay, leave it at 10 o'clock there. Leave it at 10 o'clock. Now, can you go to your ALC reading?
The ALC reading still at peak reflects just to the right of midway of the red line.
Roger, that's where we want. Now, how are you working your mic? How closer to the mic are you?
And this is a high mic setting for wide and narrow, and it is at wide now.
All right, can you give me a count to 10, and at 5 switch from one to the other and tell me which one you switch to? I think Mother Nature was did something at 5 because you disappeared at 5. Let's do exactly that same thing one more time and see if if we can do it a little bit better. Do the same thing you just did, Roger.
Roger.
Roger, Roger. Here goes on narrow. Over.
Roger. Just not enough signal. You were only about a dB above my noise level there. Conditions are definitely in and out. Tell me about your the thing you like best about your radio, and I'm going to see if I can find a better signal source. Roger.
Roger.
Roger. Well, the Pro 3 was quite a step up from the many radios I've had. I like that it has DSP filters, it's not flat filters and so forth. And, it's got bells and whistles, which are nice, not like the current radios. The still can be interesting, but I've never found it better than the 920 that I had, or more featureful and modern. So I like that a lot. I've also got an IC7000 sitting right next to it. And then that was good enough. Maybe you found a different source, as you said. Really do appreciate the insight and assistance. K6OJ.
Roger. The Rochester SDR gave me about 6 dB over my noise level, your signal, which was really good. But like I say, you need some really like 3K. You need some 3K EQ there, top-end EQ, to really be able to put a nice little enunciation capability to the articulation to that audio. Right now, it's not very defined. So when you find out where your EQ is, I would definitely do that top-end EQ at least 2 or 3 clicks hotter than what it is. Roger.
At least 2 or 3 clicks hotter than what it is. Roger.
Going to study that up, and I'll see what I can hit. I guess you do this every Friday. Is that the idea? I'll look your YouTube up, of course, and your call. But really a lot of fun to help people tune up their audio. It's such an important part of driving that signal out there.
Roger, yes. Each Friday from 3:30 till 5, we are on 7188, this frequency, and we do a recording from the whole from 3:30 till 5, and then post the recording up on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 7519. My Group Aircheck 7519. Roger?
Roger. That'll be interesting to see what it sounded like from there. Very, very cool part. And very for another 20 minutes. Maybe I'll be able to figure out where this stuff is within there and get a reach out. Thank you very much again.
Roger, and this was John. Roger.
Roger, and this was John. Roger.
That is Roger.
Okay, and John, come back one more time, slowly and phonetically with your call sign.
Come back one more time, slowly and phonetically with your call sign.
Kilo 6 Oscar Juliet K6OJ.
K6OJ, I got you, sir. Thank you much, and you have a real good afternoon and a great weekend, Roger.
Roger, you do the same, sir. Thank you. And I'm peering at my manuals now. 73 K6OJ.
Roger, Roger. And this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog page, network, whatever it is. And we record live till 5. We have about 15 minutes to go, so if you've got a radio, you want to check out the audio, give me a call. KC9VKV. And we're running our SDRs and didn't copy anybody, but we're on our local Louisville antenna now. So come back and try it again.
Kilo Bravo 3 and uniform
Was there Kilo Oscar something?
Yes.
I got Kilo Oscar 3 Tango. What's the rest?
It is Kilo Bravo 3. Tango Uniform Oscar. Over.
Tango Uniform Oscar. Roger.
Yes, that's right. That's affirmative.
Roger. And what's the name there?
The name here is
I copy that as Jim, Juliet, India, Mike.
Couldn't be farther from the truth. Dan, Delta Alpha November, India Echo Lima.
D-A-N what?
D-A-N-I-E-L, Daniel. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, Daniel. I'm copying you about a dB or so above my noise level, so it's kind of like Braille at the moment, Roger.
Yeah, that's okay. I appreciate it. I wish I had more power. All I got is 150 watts. Go ahead.
Now, why do you have 50 watts? Come back and tell me why you have 50 watts.
There's this one. Maybe it's about 150 watts.
Are you saying 150 or 50?
150.
150, Roger. Well, where are you, sir?
I am in just south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, roger that. Now, I should have you really loud and clear on Milford, PA. Come back and tell me about your antenna system.
Sure. Part of it is on the house and part of it is in some trees. I've also got an offset effect dipole on the side.
Gosh, Daniel, I think I lost you there. I copy you nowhere, but on my local antenna, the Louisville, my Louisville radio antenna, and I've got about a 2 on you at that point. So, you know, what you say you're running a dipole?
It currently is on a...
Are you on your microphone, when you're talking to your microphone, are you staying right on your microphone, Roger?
Yeah, I've got it on not too far from it, an inch or 2.
Okay, I see what's happening. You got to check out. Your modulation is under. If you do you know how to get to your ALC? If you can get to your ALC meter, Roger. Daniel, let me ask you, what radio are you running, sir? I fear Daniel has been stolen by gypsies.
The radio is
I hear you back in there. Take a look at your ALC. Take a look at your ALC meter and adjust your mic gain to where your ALC is reading mid-scale to 2/3. Adjust your mic level until your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Yeah, I understand. It seemed as though the radio for a moment there was cutting the power back. I don't know why, but the ALC on
Daniel, if you've still got a copy, you are tremendously peaky. You are tremendously peaky. As you're talking in one sentence, you're going from max out to, and the next two words are way down, and the next two words are way up. So I'm not really sure why you're so peaky level-wise. Adjust your mic, come right into your microphone, and talk to me. Roger, Roger?
Well, you're peaky too. The band's peaky, up and down, up and down.
The band is not peaking that fast. We're talking nanoseconds. We're talking eighth of a second. The band is not peaking that fast. So, Daniel, come up on that mic there and talk to me for a minute.
There's no reason it should be peaking.
Yeah, if you adjust your compressor to 3 out of 10, engage your compressor and put it at a 3 out of 10. Engage the compressor and put it into 3 out of 10. Then go to your ALC and adjust your mic gain until your ALC is mid-scale to 2/3. Look at the ALC scale. Look at the scale that the ALC meter is running on and adjust it to mid-scale to 2/3 of the ALC scale. Roger?
Coming.
Gosh, Daniel, I no longer copy you, sir, so try it one more time, and if I don't hear you, then I can't talk to you. Yeah, sorry, Daniel, we've lost contact there, so maybe next Friday we can try it again, maybe better conditions, but right now it's not possible to communicate, so we'll say threes. You have a good Friday afternoon and a great weekend, and like I say, maybe next Friday we can try it again. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor in the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog. If you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, we are recording from now until 5, which is about 7 minutes away. So this is KC9VKV.
Whiskey 7 Charlie 4 Delta Charlie Papa.
Delta Charlie Papa station, come back with the call sign again.
That was Kilowatt 4 Delta Charlie Papa.
Delta Charlie Papa, Roger, what's the name?
It's Daryl David Alpha Romeo Yankee Lima.
Roger, Daryl, got a good copy on you. Looks like about 10 over. What radio are you running?
I'm working on an ICOM 7300.
Roger, Roger. All right, come back and tell me about your antenna, sir.
Right now I'm working on a homebrew 4080 wire at about 45 foot.
Roger that. All right, on the 7300, we have a tune-up procedure that will take you from unprocessed 10 dB dynamic range to a processed 3 dB dynamic range, which means about an average of 80 to 85% average peak modulation. It starts with the compressor, and if you were to engage the compressor at about a 3 out of 10, very lightly, just a 3 out of 10 is all it takes to start the process. Roger?
Okay, that's a 3.
All right, now if you go to your ALC and adjust your mic gain to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3.
You said 1, I'm sorry, how much?
Mid-scale to 2/3, and you might want to kill that. You've got a speaker or something open?
Yeah, I just killed that, cut that.
Alrighty, now adjust your mic gain to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. And you have to transfer it to do that.
There.
I'm sorry, we doubled. You have to transmit and talk, you know, and then adjust your mic as you're talking on transmit.
Yeah, I was doing a test 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that right there is about 2/3.
Alrighty. And what radio was that again?
Yeah, it's an Icon 7300 with a Howell microphone.
Oh, Roger. Well, you know, when you took off that hand mic, you took off one of the better mics that radio had. That hand mic is just an extremely beautiful condenser microphone. It just requires a windscreen, but it's not as convenient as the desk mic. So in lieu of the hand mic, the condenser hand mic, you're going to have to place some catch-up on your EQ to make the mic, the desk mic that you have now, start sounding like that hand mic was natural. So I would go to my top-end EQ and treble EQ, and I would crank in at least 3 dB top-end EQ. Roger?
Okay, I'm looking for that real quick.
That is a system. Gosh, I don't remember. A system transmit, single sideband, and then treble EQ.
Okay, I'm looking to see. Does the 7300 actually have a built-in EQ?
Yes, definitely. 2-band EQ. System settings, I guess, maybe. And then transmit, and then single sideband. Give me your options. System settings. What do you get on settings?
Tone control.
Tone control. That's what you want. And then you want treble, and then you want +3 over where it is.
All right, the transmit base needs to be at what number?
Well, let me hear you. You could start at 0. You know, no cut, no boost, just 0. Roger.
Okay, that's -3. -3.
I'm sorry. You were -3 on the base just then?
Yeah, that's -3 right there.
All right, I would do another cut, -4.
Okay, -4.
We're talking base EQ, Roger.
Roger, transmit base.
Roger. So, and by -5, we're at the end of our cut, Roger.
-5 is at the end of the cut right there.
Alrighty, and tell me about your antenna. Tell me about the radio and what you like best about the 7300.
Very easy to operate, works very well, multi-band unit, and an awesome touch screen.
A little bit more.
Other than this small compact unit, it is portable and usable. Like to do a little contesting with it, to play with it, and I've used you before doing audio check. But this is a brand new radio.
Roger, Roger. Okay, go back to your top end EQ, and where are you? What are the readings now on your top end?
-5 bass, 0 flat treble.
Okay, move that treble up to 3, +3 top end EQ.
Okay, how about right there?
Now we're starting to talk. Now, double check your compressor. Well, all we need is about a 3 out of 10. The compressor, just a 3 out of 10, Roger?
That is correct. I've got it on 3. Compressor is on 3.
All right, now go look at your ALC again and see what you got, and with your mic gain in the other hand, and adjust your ALC for mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay. 2/3, right there, 2/3.
Alrighty. Now, do you have a speaker on or headphones on?
Negative, I do not.
Okay, I hear your key. When you key, I hear it, and I'm just wondering. It sounds like sounds like a little more compression than what I was thinking. Although the end result is about the same, I usually don't hear. You must have an exceptionally loud key circuit when you hit key on or something.
Okay, that is a floor key now. I'm using a floor key.
All right, and then talk to me. Just tell me about your antenna system or something.
Okay, it's a homebrew 40-80 meter with a Ballon design choke at about 45 feet in the air.
Okay, now do you have any other external processing stuff going on?
Negative.
Is the microphone a power mic?
It is a standard Howell microphone 40 ICM.
Okay, but it is just is it an amplifier? Do you have a battery in it or no?
Negative.
Okay, well, when you key, I almost hear feedback for the first couple of nanoseconds, and I'm not sure why that is. Do you have headphones on or a speaker on?
Okay. No, the monitor played back through the actual speaker. I just turned it totally off.
Yes, sir. You must turn that off because it discolors the audio, Roger.
Okay, it's totally off.
All right, now we're talking a lot better here. So I think you're, if I could hear just a little about 15 seconds of something that I haven't heard yet. Tell me about something I don't know.
Okay. The weather here in North Carolina has been extremely hot. It's been up in the high 90s, 98 degrees, and been working the 13 colony Qso, trying to win me an award for my very first trip out there for the DX World.
Roger. Well, it looks like you're about 3 dB, 3.5 dB in the ballpark there. We got that compressor in there at a 3 out of 10, and we've got your ALC reading mid-scale to 2/3. Check that if you would one more time, because here's the thing: when you start EQing, then your audio level is going to be affected at the ALC. So anytime you make a correction or change in your EQ or the compressor, then the last thing you need to do is go back to the ALC and just double check your reading into the ALC and adjust with your mic gain whatever you need to do to make that ALC mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay, all right. Let's see here. I'm sorry. It is, should be right there for 2/3.
Roger. I think it's sounding good, man. I think we have struck pay dirt here. And if you get a chance, check in next Friday and let me know how things are going, what comments you're getting on your audio.
Okay, I will. And you said I could go find this so I could go back and play it back on YouTube. That is correct?
Roger. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for Qso that's entitled My Group Aircheck 7519. My Group Aircheck 7519. And we'll be posting this within the next couple of days, Roger.
Roger. I greatly appreciate it, sir. This was Kilowatt 4 Delta Charlie Papa. I appreciate your time and help.
Come back one more time with your call sign again.
Kilowatt 4 Delta Charlie Papa.
And the name is Daryl, Roger?
That is correct.
Roger, sometimes I just have to find the right place on my page. I've got the information, I just want to be sure that I do. But I do, because sometimes we make out separate breakouts from the hour and a half piece. We cut to individual pieces, and it's really important that we post those with the correct call sign. Roger.
Roger, Roger. I greatly appreciate it.
Roger, Roger, Daryl. Well, yeah, go to our Qso-Vlog page, and we have about 650 Qsos there now, and we will have one more with this one. This is another hour and a half, which is our major contribution, and so again, it's my group Aircheck 7519. So, Daryl, 3s to you, sir, and have a great weekend.
You do the same, sir. Thank you.
Roger, Roger, and I'm copying you 10 over, so you will have really good audio to listen to. Under the conditions, 40 being less than ideal, but of the ideals, you were doing really well. So 3s that way. And gosh, I've turned into a pumpkin here. It's 7. Well, Eastern Daylight Time, it's 5:05, actually, but we got to get out of here, so we'll say 3s to all who contributed. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next Friday at 3:30. If you get a chance, join us. Until then, have a great weekend, a great week following that. And this is 3s and KC9VKV, and we will be clear. I heard somebody ask her, Juliet. Who's that?
Hey, I didn't want to keep you, but we talked earlier, and I changed things up. I found all the different settings that you spoke of. I brought treble up by 3 notches, and I worked on the mic gain and the compression gain, looking at the ALC meter. Hopefully this is a lot better, and thank you for the service you provide people.
All right, now I am hearing just a little bit of room noise, so that might be indicative of, the problem is proximity to microphone. So I guess you're, about 6 or 7 inches away?
Roger, and there's a fan about 10 feet away blowing on me. That could be the problem?
What's about 10 feet?
A fan, air circulating fan.
Now, this is room noise. You need to get closer to mic and just bring... do you know where your mic gain control is?
Absolutely.
All right, turn your mic gain control down and come in to about 2 inches away from mic.
Okay, the mic gain control is at 12 o'clock, and I'm about 2 inches from the mic, and I've got it set down now to about 10 o'clock.
Come closer to mic.
And the weather is fine.
Roger. Getting some QRM now. I would say come to about 2. Are you about 2 inches away from your mic?
I'm about 1 inch now.
Okay, talk to me and look at your ALC and adjust your mic level for mid-scale to 2/3 at that location.
All right, so the ALC is going all the way to the midpoint now. Definitely all the way to the midpoint. If I raise this...
Roger, Roger. Well, that's where you want. Mid-scale to 2/3. Mid to 2/3. Roger.
20 dB. Pretty interesting. I can turn this one.
Yeah, I think I would like to hear you just a little bit in the clear there for about 10 seconds in the clear at about an inch away from your microphone. And as you talk, adjust your mic gain to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger. That's 1, 2, 4, 5, and
Okay, you were kind of in and out there. I guess conditions are just kind of in and out at the moment, Roger.
Roger. Thank you very much. We'll see what happens next weekend. It's wonderful having you here. I'm sure I'll be happy to see your perspective. Thank you very much for staying with us.
All right. Now, what you have to remember, I'm looking at your audio. You have to stay right on mic. You can't turn your head left or right. You have to stay right on mic, because otherwise your level. That microphone tends to be particularly sensitive to your position to the mic, so you're going to have to address it consistently. You cannot turn your head left or right on that microphone, so you must be consistently addressing the microphone on axis. Roger. Roger that, sir. Roger that. And give me a shout next week. Maybe we'll have just a little bit better conditions. You know what I mean? I'm coughing you about 2 dB above my noise, and it's like reading Braille. It is like reading Braille. So I'm trying the best I can with the minimum signal. Roger. Roger, Roger. 3's that way, man, and have a great weekend. Catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog page. We are done. We are 10 minutes past our pumpkin time, and we're clear. This is KC9VKV.
Kilo Bravo 3.
Kilo Bravo 3, you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I've been listening. I set my radio up the way you said, so hopefully it sounds okay.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I thought I was talking to myself.
Yeah, I do a lot of homework on audio. Anyway, this is Kilo Bravo 3, Whiskey Bravo X-Ray. You got Jeff, Juliet Echo Foxtrot, Foxtrot, and we're located about 50 miles south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, your audio is just very nice. It's got everything. Tell me about 10 seconds of your antenna.
I run a homemade loop antenna just for 80 meters, and I tune it in down here approximately about 20 feet in the air. It's in the triangle position, and probably want to hear more. I'm running W2IHY. I don't know what you think about that, but iPhone 7600 and a Pro 40 microphone.
Roger, now what's the name there? Jeff, Roger. Now I'm looking at your signal on my spectrum analyzer, and I've got 3 marks on my spectrum analyzer, which you can see when you look at your audio. The one on the left-hand side is a 100 cycle marker. The 2 on the right-hand side, the first one coming from the midpoint out, the first one is 1 kc. Then there's a black area, which is 2 kc. And the second mark, the first mark in from the right, shall we say, is 4 kc. So, you will be, when you look at that, you'll be able to see your curve. And I think it's just ideal, Roger.
QSL. What are you looking on, a flex? I had a guy go over my audio one day, and he set my audio to what he said was a perfect curve. And I do get a lot of audio reports, good audio. But what do you think of Julius at W2IHY?
I'm sorry, I was just talking about your audio. You're well below 100 cycles. You've got a nice roll. You're zero level almost at 100, and then you're rolling. You still got activity down to about 30 cycles, Roger.
QSL. Yeah, I had a guy on a flex radio. What do you think the W2IHY box is?
Is that the outboard EQ stuff? I'm sorry, Jeff. I think we doubled. You're talking about the outboard EQ stuff?
Yeah, I run an outboard EQ radio at 100% zero on everything, and I use
Roger. Well, and like I say, man, it sounds perfect to me, and you can see it on the scale. Now you have dropped down into the noise a little bit, but when you were up, I was looking at your signal, your audio on a spectrum analyzer, and it was just perfect. So I would just leave everything exactly like it was. Get the duct tape and the super glue and seal it up.
Okay, I sure do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And a good thing here. Helps a lot of people out. I like hearing good audio. Anyway, God bless 73. Kilo Bravo 3. Whiskey Bravo X-ray. 73. Thank you.
Roger, and that was Kilo Bravo 3, Whiskey Bravo X-Ray, Roger?
Yep, that's a QSL.
Roger, Jeff. And what's the location?
I'm located in Hallbrook, Pennsylvania, about 50 miles south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Roger, Roger. So I'm copying you on my local antenna, which is my highly modified FT990. That is a bandpass from at least 100 cycles up to about 4. And I'm looking at your audio, and like I say, I usually don't encourage audio that frequencies down below 100 cycles or even 100 cycles. I usually recommend a roll at about 200 cycles, actually. But you have achieved all wonders there in that EQ setting, and like I say, great. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll be looking for Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 7519. My Group Aircheck 7519. And we should have this uploaded within the next couple of days, Roger.
Kilo Charlie 9.
Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Roger?
And I appreciate you staying over and listening to the radio for me. 73.
Roger, Roger. 3Z way. Catch you later. KC9VKV. We are clear.